Hi guys, Squall here. Welcome back to another episode of Railroute. This is episode, I can't remember, 5 I think it is. Something like that. Well, if you've been watching the series, you'll know where we're at. If not, we're building our network up. I have done a bit of grinding since the last episode just to give us some more money and some more experience so we can unlock some stuff. Because I don't want to make videos where you're just watching me grind, right? I want you to see the interesting bits, the thought process and what I'm doing. As a better way of learning and just, perhaps providing your input as well in the comments section about what you think or how badly I've designed the network, etc. Of how I could have done it better. Let's put it that way. I joke. Basically, we're doing okay. The only thing is this section of the track is pretty manual at the moment. So the first thing I want to do is kind of automate this. I'd also like to get more kind of throughput between this section here and this section here, because right now everything is just literally bottlenecked through this tunnel. I'll just give you a quick example here. So this train is about to depart, and what I have to now do is click that, route it to here, and route it to here, and then when it arrives, I'll have to turn it around and then flick that to green and route it back that way. So that's a bit dull, and it's very much bottlenecked here. There is another auto-lock tunnel here, so I kind of want to get that and then change this track so that we're only single file through the bit where we need to be single file. Should we put it that way? And otherwise, we'll try and maintain double track as best as we can. There's not a lot of room. Obviously, there's two things here as well. So if you do want to improve east-west, we're going to have to unlock this. So you have to click that, have to do that, and then have to make sure I clear him back there. So it's all very manual. So I do want to solve that. This part of the track is fully automated now. It just takes care of itself. Likewise with this, except for the freight. The freight is what I'm using to build these red experience points. We don't have a coach yard yet because, as I said in the last video, we need to make some more money. Now, Cumbernaut's platforms are all unlocked. However, they're also kind of in use. We're using the top two, platform 1 and 2 for freight, and platform 3 and 4 for commuter runs backwards and forwards here. Now, that's okay, except if we click on the contracts and go to active, if we sort by like that, let me just do the manual. Hang on. Trains demand my attention. There we go. If we sort by from and look at the Bridgeton contracts that go from Bridgeton to Cumbernaut to Bridgeton, they're only $2,000 contracts largely. So they're not exactly big earners, let's put it that way. Now, what that means is we're pretty much looking to change how we earn money. We've done well out of this, little commuter runs chipping away, but we can get bigger money than this. And that's, part of the process of what we're doing here is upgrading. You can see the pink stuff is the fast track and the blue stuff is the slow track. So we kind of need to improve the speed of the track. We need to invest in our network, and we need to get better contracts. And we need to automate this stuff. So let's chip away at some things. So if we start off we can buy that thing there for 4,000. Let me just turn that around like that. Get rid of that. Green like that. Let's get that out of the way. We need to get this train out of the way, and then we'll probably have to pause it while we do the rest of it. While we're at it, I think I will unlock this just so that we can lay our track out. Now, one of the things I've got in mind for Cumbernaut is to put our coach station probably down here. The coach station is an important part of progression because it's another way that you can earn red experience tokens. So right now we're relying on freight services, and that quite literally means using a platform just for freight. That's a limited thing. Whereas a coach yard, it will just absorb trains, and then we can get contracts to take them out. The one-way system, one-way trains, they'll either go to the coach yard or they'll come out of the coach yard. So that's going to give us some more red tokens. I'm just looking at these trains here. That needs to go back to Easterhouse shortly, so we'll turn it around. Let's get this train out of the way, and then we can... Oh, I didn't turn that one around. You see how manual this is? It's frustrating. But I needed the money before we could automate it. I think we can get a double track through there. I'm not sure how much, but... Right, so they are out the way. I'm going to pause it here. Before you do any rebuild work, I suggest you quickly save the game just so that you've got a point in time that you can go back to, just in case things don't quite work out how you planned. So let's start by deleting a lot of this stuff here. We'll see if we can have a rejig. This is, of course, going to mess up all of our routing. I did explain that before. Okay. We'll start off with slow track until we can lay the track out. There is space here potentially for some kind of siding, I guess, but what we're probably looking for is basically 2 tracks to come that way, something like that. There is space here. I don't know if we'll end up using it or not. I mean, we could sort of potentially bring trains out like that. We almost certainly want to cut the corner. However, how much do we want to cut the corner? We need to think about where we would put signals and sensors and all that good stuff. So maybe if we come like that initially, maybe that's the thing to do, and then we'll try and link that. We'll see how it goes. I haven't pre-designed this. I am making this up as I go along. So if you want to come this way and go that way, you probably want to jump across like that, you see. So now you can come here and go westbound, or you can come along here and go eastbound, which is what we're looking for. Probably want to have a similar situation from here, so you need to be able to get here to the northbound axis. So can we make it so that we can have an X there? I don't think we can. Where would we put our X? We can't put it there. We can put it like that. We could have even possibly... Yeah, that's probably the best place, I think. Although we can't make that turn now. Because if we go like that, we can't make the turn anymore, so that's not going to work. Maybe that's not the best place for it then. Is it possible? We can't really put it in later, that's the problem. So if we want to get from here, we can't go straight across. Oh, we can go like that. There we go. There we go. And then we can go like that. That looks like it will do. Can't build on that track, so this can't go any more that way. But it, this could come here if we wanted it to. Like we could go there and then put the Y shape in. Pros and cons. I don't know. Thinking about it, well, I just have to see how it goes. I guess we've got some more platforms we can think about linking in here. So we probably want to go something like that. And we'll need to get from here over to there. So, we could potentially join that for now. Thinking about trains coming in this way, they probably want to sit here before they get switched onto the right platform, don't they? So potentially you want to come in like that, I guess, or go across like that. Something along those lines. Or, well, there's different ways of doing it. You can go outbound that way. Inbound, you're going to come in this way. If we use it as we are now, with that one being the outbound and this one being the inbound. But if we go for all 4 at some point, we'll probably want to change that. That will do for now, though. So let's get this this end sorted. Probably something like that will take us into single track territory. If we want to have a true east-westbound thing going on, we're going to have to change the way Queen Street works. Right now, platform 5 is the only thing that's in use from anything from the east. It's also the only direct way through. So if we want to send anything from Ashfield, say, to Cumbernauld, we have to go through platform 5. Well, that's a bottleneck. So maybe the best way to handle this is to, allow maybe 2 platforms for commuter stuff and then 2 platforms for kind of through stuff and do it that way. So on that basis, we'd probably unlock that platform. And if we say everything here, there you go. So everything here, so on 2 and 3 can go commuter run, and everything 4 and 5 can come in, that kind of thing. So we do have a bottleneck. There is no way around that. And, what's worse is we don't really have any space for arrival signaling, which is a bit of an issue. So what we might have to do is create a bit more space back here. If we can, that is. Can we go like... See, if we go 1 higher, we've then got to loop round, so... But if that's the arrival line, that gives it a bit more space for a sensor, I guess. And then we can just branch off at the last minute. This one wants to be high-speed track, so we'll do it like that. That gives us a longer run there to put sensors down. That's what that does. They can, obviously we can carry on this way later if we need to. So I think that's not a bad way of doing it. Obviously we'd need to join these up as well if you want to sort of do a true east-west thing. We can probably get rid of that for now. Don't think we need that anymore. And that is more or less what we're looking to do, I think. Now, in terms of automation, we're going to have to upgrade these things. We're definitely going to want to have one here for now, because we've definitely got stuff coming in here. We're going to have to rejig the contracts to truly unlock what's going on here. We need to put a departure sensor down on platform 5 so that it knows which way to go. So essentially, this is going to be along the lines of anything going to Ashfield. You need to basically send it out. Actually, we need to put an auto signal on that. So anything bound for Ashfield needs to go out this way on the outbound line. If we just highlight that, it will. If you hover over this thing, it shows you where the block is. So anything bound for Ashfield will be sent that way, and then everything else will be sent this way, which means we will need, and this is where it's going to get interesting, because this single track actually makes it quite difficult. At the moment, we can just change it and say everything else goes to here. It will then route it that way. So we'll just do that for now. We'll have to have a look at the routing stuff later. And then obviously coming out of here, we're going to need to, we don't need to upgrade that because we don't have any outbound stuff coming out of here. But as soon as you cross this section here, you're probably going to need to have a signal to sort of send you the right direction here. And then similarly, when you're coming this way, you're going to want to have a signal on that part of the track to send you inbound into the right platform. So we'll need an arrival sensor, probably put it further back, maybe like here. And then this arrival sensor will do that. So it will now govern arrivals into steps, which I think we had before. The departure thing is now messed up. You can see the route table is broken. It doesn't know where this is anymore. That's perfectly normal. Effectively, it's going to send them here. So everything going out goes to here, as you can see when you hover over it. So arrivals and departures now taken care of at steps. This is now semi-autonomous. The only thing is anything coming through this platform, coming through this tunnel, at the moment we'll have to manually switch it. The only way of fixing that is to put that auto signal down like this. And then you need to say which direction things are going. In order to do that, though, we need a routing sensor, and we haven't unlocked routing sensors yet. So we will do that shortly, but not right now. So anything coming into here won't know which way to go. And if you want to automate that, we'll need the routing sensor. So if we go to system upgrades, the last thing that we can unlock in the automation category is the routing sensor. Now, the routing sensor is a bit like a network switch, if you've ever dealt with those. Network switch basically looks at the destination, where do you want to go, and then sends you in the right direction. It's a big upgrade, 25 points and 10 red experience. These things cost a lot of money, but they quite literally do what you need them to do in cases like this. So 25,000 on the routing sensor. Again, don't put it just before the signal. Set it back so that it's got time to set the switch. Too far back and it'll set the switch too early and potentially lock up this this block here, but too close and the train will slow down. So that's, for now, a happy medium. So what you want to do is you want to say, I want you to govern this signal here. And then you give it a routing table. So effectively, it's going to go something like anything for Queen Street or Ashfield, send this way, everything else, punt that way. The reason being, this is the end of the map, so there's more stations in this direction than that direction. So it makes sense to route this and then other that, if that makes sense. So you click on where you want it to go. So Queen Street, go here, add another one. Ashfield, go here, and then everything else, go here. Now, I would suggest that you get your track sorted before you do your routing, because if we change this, it will break all of our routing, and you'll have to redo it again. So if I put a automation on the outbound of that, when I click back to here, it hasn't broken it because the track itself, we've not changed anything between here and here. We've only changed that there. So that's okay. But if I was to drop something here, that would break that sensor. So what that means is that can now govern things coming this way. Stuff coming out of Queen Street, it knows how to depart them. It knows how to get them to here. But there's nothing here to tell it which way to go, either north or east. For that, you need an automation signal, and there's not quite enough room for this, because if we put an automation signal down, we can't put a sensor down. And these are some of the challenges that we're going to run up against, which is why I was pondering whether this bit of track here could actually go further to the right. Because if it can, then we've then got space for one of these sensors. I'm not sure if it can or not. And if I take this track apart, it will break the sensor, but we're going to have to try and see what we can do. So if we get rid of that, the question is, can we go like that? And the answer is, I think probably not, because we can't make this turn. This wall is a real pain. It's going to break our departure sensors, something chronic here. Well, routing sensor. I don't think we can get across here at all unless we can move this particular line, which is a possibility. But whatever happens, we know that we're going to have to go like this to get that way. Actually, no, we don't need to do that. We don't need that at all. We can actually go from here, so we can get out of there. Actually, you get the same problem, because if you go here, you can't put a signal or a sensor here, so you can't switch it northbound. You still need a gap. After a tunnel, you need 2 squares, really, in order to have space. Because what you need, effectively, is an automation signal like that when you come out the tunnel, and then a routing sensor to drive it. You know, you can put your routing sensor in the tunnel, but it just means it's going to set that signal while he's still in the tunnel. You can do that. It just means as soon as the train enters the tunnel, and bear in mind that's 10 tiles, it will lock that signal for that as long as that thing is in that tunnel. That's what I'm trying to avoid. And sometimes you just can't avoid it. And this may be one of those cases. But let's see if we can make it work. So can we go like that? And then we can go like... No, we can't. We literally can't make that turn. It won't let you go north off that thing because it's an X, basically. So unfortunately, I think we are back to what we originally had, which is effectively this. You know, we can keep that there, or we can just punt it over here. And I think punting over here is probably the better option. Like that. So effectively what we do is we have a signal here, which switches you north or west, and then a signal here, which switches you in that direction, which means that your routing sensor has to go there, and it will govern this signal here. So I don't see any way around that, really. Effectively what you want to say is, if you want to go to steps, then you need to be routed that way, which is going to lock this whole block up. So when a train gets in the tunnel, that block is going to be locked, and I actually just hate that. It's so inefficient. Compare that with this one, where you put a routing sensor here, and you say, right, you're governing that there, and if you want to go to steps, then send you that way. So when the train comes out, it trips the sensor, and then it locks the signal, With this one, as soon as the train enters the tunnel, it's going to lock that whole block. It's just horrible. But I think that's the way it's got to be for now. So its two options are northbound or westbound. So either go that way for steps or go that way for everything else. And then with this one is going to be, if you want to go to steps, go that way. Everything else, go that way. And that is unfortunately not efficient, but I can't see how to redesign that track to make it slightly more efficient given the constraints of the game. I think that's pretty much it. We've got our departure done here. So that, and then that, so it will send things that way, but as soon as that departs, it'll lock that entire block there. Things coming out of here, nothing to automate that there at all. So what you need is an arrival sensor for this thing. So we need a auto signal somewhere here. Probably, we can't really put it there, can we? We'll have to put it back here. So that is going to act as an arrival sensor, which we'll put there. And that will act as an arrival sensor for that. So a train, control click, put it on infinite. So what that means is when a train comes into this tunnel, it will automatically be routed out of here, and then it will sit here potentially waiting for the arrival sensor to clear them into the right platform. When a train departs, if it wants to go to Ashfield, it will go west. Same with this thing. If we want to go to Ashfield, it should go west. So those two should now be the same. Actually, no, this one's different now. So the default should be to send you to here. Hang on. That one, if we copy that one, and we'll paste it into that one. It doesn't like that. It doesn't like that for whatever reason. It doesn't like that. Let's delete that. Ashfield, go here. Everything else, go here. It's still got a warning over it. Invalid configuration. Oh, it's because this is not an auto signal, so it can't actually. There you go. It couldn't switch it. That's fine. That is all now fully automated. This departure sensor is broken, so this is gonna. We need to because we changed this track and put a sensor on it. That is now fully automated. The only thing is it's all running on slow track now, which is going to cause us problems for sure. We'll see what spending it's going to take. Okay, I need to right click that in order to upgrade the track. And then we can re-infinitize it, if that's even a word. Change track speed. Right, so we need to get this track as high speed as we can because we've got trains running this line that are used to being high speed, but I don't think we've got the coffers for it. We shall see. We need to test our automation. That's the main thing. 4,000. Let's see how we get on. Okay, that's most of that journey, and then probably those like that. And that is probably it. Let's give it a run through. So let's see what happens with this train. Whereas before, I've had to sit here and manually configure all this. If this is working correctly, it should. Now you see how that tunnel there automatically chucked them out. That routed it into here. When that train turns around, the departure sensor should send it back to the east, and you'll see pay attention to what happens here. As soon as that train goes in the tunnel, it's going to lock that entire block, which is a real pain because it's in there for 10 square. There you go. See that? So for 10 squares now, that entire junction is locked. Okay, so I didn't put an arrival sensor here apparently. Let me just clear him into platform 2. We need an arrival sensor here. I think we used to have one and I might have got rid of it. So you govern that. There we go. Other than that, that should now be fully automated. I should be able to put this on 25 speed and the whole network should run itself, apart from the freight stuff. So we're not building any red experience at the moment because I don't have any freight missions going. Bridgeton to Cumbernauld to Steps, Bridgeton to Cumbernauld. You know, we could just bring one in manually, but it's going to sit there for like 40 minutes. I'm not going to do that just in case we want to change the way Cumbernauld contracts are working. So it doesn't like something here, does it? Oh, you see, because I put the sensor down, it's broke the track. So this should say here. Same with this one. This should say here. Do you remember what I said to you in the last video about whenever you change a track, it gets a different ID? And so that sensor, I need to clear him manually now because he doesn't know what to do. That sensor there used to point to a track with a different identifier. What is this train doing? This guy doesn't want to leave the tunnel. For whatever reason. Is he like pointing the wrong way, isn't it? Oh, finally. I don't know what he was doing. We're going to get a big penalty on that. 4,900 delay. Eek. I'm not really sure what he was doing. But that's it. I think we're now at the point where our entire network is fully autonomous, except we're not earning any of these red experience points because we have nothing to generate red experience now unless we manually bring in freight trains or we take the next step and start moving towards coach yards. What I want to do with our surplus cash, though, is just make sure that we are going as high speed as we can. I can't upgrade that because I'll have to cancel this first, and then I can change the track speed like that, and then we can control click and put him back to infinity. So everything here is high speed. I don't know what speed that track is. Oh, it's slow. So we'll just have to cancel that. Put that back to infinity. Okay, so most of the stuff on the network now is now running high-speed track. Certainly over here anyway. Nothing over here as yet. That is a separate problem. Now, you might think, oh, well, you know, you've just beaten the game, right? Not really. Not at all. What we've done is establish our very first fully automatic network. And we could just leave this running and watch the cash build and build and build. Which sounds like game over, but it's not. We've got a long, long way to go before we can consider this to be game over. It's only just starting to get interesting. We want to try and get to the point where we can automate red experience points, and that is a much more difficult problem. However, as I pointed out earlier, these contracts for like 2,000 from Bridgeton to Cumbernauld to Bridgeton, these contracts are rubbish by today's standards. 2,000 per job is just rubbish. So what we want to do, and bearing in mind we want to not use these for freight anymore, what we want to be doing is perhaps put in the commuter stuff onto either platform 1 and 4 or 1 and 2, something like that. So our commuter trains are just going on those platforms. And then everything else, 3 and 4, perhaps we can link down to these other stations and have them more of a throughput. Also, if we start to get a coach yard here, we can start to take trains in from Cumbernauld into the coach yard and start to build up red points that way rather than parking freight everywhere, because freight, if we got freight at Queen Street, that would be great, but I've not seen a single contract for freight into Queen Street yet. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these just so we start to get some more stuff going. But you can see missions like this: Ashfield to Queen Street to Ashfield, which is these two, paying 6,000 each. Well, that one is. That's Bridgenorth, but Ashfield to Queen Street to Ashfield is paying 6,000. And if you look at our current contract, we've got one here for 2,000, doing the same thing. So the best thing to do, because we've fulfilled that contract, the best thing we can do is just delete that contract. That will create some space in our schedule. Looks like we've got space here. However, we do have a train coming through, so we'll just let that train come through. So now that train's come through, we can say, right, well, let's get you, Ashfield to Queen Street to Ashfield, let's get you onto platform 2. And because this track is high speed, it's going to go to Queen Street any, so we need to decide which platform to take him into. This is where it gets interesting, because we've now repurposing things, but it's a commuter train, so if we say 4 and 5 are going to be that, 2 and 3 are going to be this, platform 2 or 3, I think. So when he comes out of here, we'll chuck him onto 3, because that's got a departure sensor on it. So that contract we cancelled created a space, and then we add a more valuable contract back into it. And that's the kind of game you start to get into now. So this guy, we know that platform 3 is going to be where we want him to go, so we'll just do that. And hopefully when he comes out the other end, we'll let it run and see what we get. We'll probably get like a 70 or 80%. 65, that's not bad. So now we're getting 3,900. We're literally doing the same thing on the same bit of track, but now we're getting twice the money. And so that's one thing we need to do next, is review contracts. Okay, I had a little think, and I think I figured out a way of doing this. So I redesigned this bit of track, as you can see. So now I managed to get this routing sensor out of the tunnel and to here. And to do that, I had to literally just have a play around with the track until I could get a layout that actually worked. But this works. This is the solution. So if you're coming out of this tunnel here, you can basically take that track to go up to steps. If you're coming out of this tunnel, you can take that track to go up to steps. That's that kind of weird bit. But this bit of track here, this only ever northbound to steps. And then likewise, if you're coming out of steps, you can now cut across there or go that way. That gave us 2 squares here, so I could put a routing sensor and a automatic signal there just to route it. And then I've obviously had to redo these things here, but they're principally the same. Unfortunately, the sensors have to sit fairly close to the signals. The other thing I did was, over at Cumbernauld, I've fully loaded them with departure sensors and automatic signals now, and I changed this bit of track layout and gave Cumbernauld on arrival sensor and signal. So that's now fully set up to receive trains from the west into Cumbernauld. The next thing to do really is to sort of redo this, and also if we just look at the track speed, pretty much everything this side more or less is now high-speed track. There's not a lot left. There you go. In fact, you know what, let's just do that. So all of the west is now high speed and all of the east is not. Unfortunately, the video's run on long enough, so I think we need to leave it there. What we've got here is a fully automatic network, so we're now routing 100% automatically. As I say, we're not getting any red experience points, but remember, if you go to is it controls? Is it controls where you do it? No, it's contracts, I think. Yes, so converts 15 green to 1 red. So if you come and do this, we advise beginner contracts. Okay, we have to unlock previous. So unlock into city contracts, which is 10 points. So we'll now start getting into city, which we don't care about. But now we can get this. And this is now a repeatable thing. So having unlocked it, if you want to convert 15 into 1 red, it's an expensive thing, but you know, we can do it. We don't need to get red tokens. We can do it this way. So that's more options basically. We'll leave it there, but in the next video what we'll do is we will change the track speed over here and probably rebuild this section of track. I'd like to make it so that we can get through Bridgeton and come down south this way, perhaps either to Newton, and then that opens up, you know, all the way down to Whifflet. What a great name, Whifflet, and Motherwell, and perhaps over to Glasgow Central. So lots more to do, but we need some more money first, so I'll let the money pick up, which is now a bit easier, and then in the next video we'll explore expanding our network, and we will take a look at the coach yard, which is this thing here. We'll see what it does and how it works. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Until the next one, take care. Happy training.